Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial, and we just found another box of keys. So this is a really cool find. Our volunteers were down in their tool issue room, and down there were a bunch of boxes of drill bits and paintbrushes and everything else, and they were going around cleaning stuff up, getting rid of empty boxes and whatnot. And they found this box and opened it up, and it had like old skeleton keys on chains in it. There's about 30 of them in here, and well, what the heck is this? So thankfully, rather than throwing it out with the other stuff they were doing, they brought it to me. And we were able to ask around, and these keys match up with these things. They're called Latham Watchman Stations. These have been installed around the ship, and we can assume, based on the number of keys that we had, that there was somewhere around 40 of these. This is really cool because it's an artifact from our time in mothballs. When the ship was in service, these key boxes wouldn't have been here. There were other key boxes around magazine spaces like this one to get in there. This is probably added when the ship is put in mothballs. And the idea is the watchman that has to come on and inspect the ship, how do you know when he goes on the ship whether he's inspecting all the deep, dark places on his checklist and not just going somewhere and taking a nap for an hour and then coming back off having penciled in everything on the checklist? You don't, unless, this is old school, guys. Nowadays, there's probably a digital way of doing this. But back in the day, you'd have these keys in each of these boxes, and actually there's still part of the chain left inside this box. So they would have been linked together, the key would have lived in here, and when the watchstander comes, he just pulls the key out, and you'd be wearing, it's essentially a clock, like Flavor Flav, around your neck, and you put the key into the clock, and you turn it, and the tooth here is actually engraved with a number. Ours go everywhere from 1 to 38, but we don't have a complete set. We've only got about 3/4 of the ones from 1 to 38. This one is the number 7. You can sort of see it on there on the end of the key. And it essentially works the same way a typewriter works. Your key, your clock thing has a piece of ticker tape in it, and it has a piece of printer tape like a typewriter would have. And when you turn this, it imprints against that tape onto the ticker tape and leaves the number there. So in theory, your checklist goes 1 to probably about 40 on this ship. And as you go through, you turn this, and it would also probably indent it with the time that you're there, in addition to you have gone to this number, which is different from all of the other ones. Each one of our keys is unique. We don't have any doubles. And like I said, we don't have a complete set of 40. So presumably, at some time early on in the museum, the volunteers went out and they cut these off of all the key boxes that are around the ship, threw them in a box, and threw that box in the volunteer tool issue room where it has sat for probably the last 22 years. Now, because the set isn't complete and we've never run across one of these stations that still has a key on it, probably some got pocketed as souvenirs over the years, or possibly a group of volunteers goes out and does this. One of the guys is throwing his away and the rest are saving him up. It's hard to say this far removed, and we may well find another box that has the missing 10 or a dozen keys in it. But that is just another interesting aspect of how this ship was maintained over time. Why was this important? Well, this ship suffered rainwater damage when she was in service. Pipes that did deck drains leaked, or when she was out of service, I should say. Her sister ship, Wisconsin, suffered fire damage while she was in mothballs at Philadelphia. So there are all sorts of things that could happen on these ships that you don't know about unless you're going down and checking. Fortunately, this key station is here on the main deck of the ship near the wardroom. Actually, we're right at the base of the conning tower forward on the ship. There are other ones of these that you find when you go down into deep, dark spaces, magazines under the gun turrets and engine rooms, things like that, to make sure that these guys are going down and checking in all of these places all around the ship. And that way you can find out if the ship is being well maintained. And New Jersey had a reputation for being the best maintained of them, so clearly this system worked on us. In fact, I've told this story before, Wisconsin was the ship that had been in the yard most recently and was the one that was going to be brought back in 1968 for Vietnam service, until they went on and found the extent of the fire damage that had happened sometime in the late 50s or early 60s. So then New Jersey, they go through all of them and find that New Jersey is the one in the best material condition, even though she's the one nested in the middle. So they have to pull one of the other ones, I think Wisconsin, away to get New Jersey off of the pier. So, very critical to maintaining a ship. Probably not anything like this used anymore. If any of you guys work on the mothball fleets, if you work for Global over at Philly Ship here, let us know in the comment section. I'd love to hear what your watch standard key thing looks like nowadays, if it is digital or if you're still old school, because hey, these things don't go bad. The batteries don't die on them. If you've got them in the inventory already, why not? We've made a number of videos on keys that we found on the ship and being able to match them up with where they came from. There's a playlist to that linked in the description down below. What are some other types of keys you'd like to see us make videos about? Let us know in the comment section. If we can find those keys and link them up to where they're supposed to go, we'll make that video. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals like yourselves. Your support allows us to do our inspections in the deep, dark places of the ship to make sure that she stays watertight. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find out about the museum and our channel. Thanks for watching.